We've got a bunch of big games this weekend, Danny, and I don't know if there are too many bigger than Cedar Park and Pflugerville because that 14-5A is going to be tough. And anyway, I see this as almost a pick'em game, but I want to hear what you think first.
If you look at Cedar Park and you look at their stats, their offense jumps off the page. But I think one thing that's been very underrated is their defense. Their defense has only allowed 88 points this year, and last week held a Stony Point offense that was averaging about 44 points a game to 21. And that's impressive in itself. And when you do look at the offense, we mentioned Hunter Dixon in the last game ball section. He might be grabbing on the headlines, but two names that you probably need to keep an eye out for are Diedrich McKnight, who has 247 yards and 3 touchdowns this year, and Scott Dolahite, who ran for 138 last week. So they have 3 backs, who can run the ball, and their quarterback isn't bad either. So I think all in all, I like Cedar Park in this game.
I'm gonna like Pflugerville for almost the exact same reason that you like Cedar Park. They've got 3 dynamic running backs: Greg Woko, Marcus Carruth, and Xavier Gooden. They combined for 287 yards just last week, and they defeated a good McNeil team, 49-14. Of course, Cedar Park, they were impressive too in the game against Stony Point, 49-21. And anyway, this is going to be a good one. But this next one, this is interesting. Bowie is the leading team in 25-5A, and a few weeks ago you would have thought that they had no chance to win this district, and all of a sudden, boom, they've won 4 in a row. They're playing Westlake. You go for it.
I think the win last week was nice, but I think if Bowie can win this week against Westlake, it kind of cement their status as a legit team. I'm gonna go with Bowie. I think you're gonna hear the name Matt Dodd to Philander Moore a lot on Friday, and I think I like the Bulldogs' chances.
They've got a very good balance, run, pass. I like them. I like Westlake to win this game, though. The tradition, they rarely lose at their own home at Chaparral Stadium. They've been to the playoffs 17 years in a row. They've got an outstanding running back, Ryan Swope, 157 yards against Anderson last week. I think it's going to be a good game because Bowie is much improved. I think Westlake prevails. Next game, Manor and McCallum. We haven't spoken a lot about either of these two teams this year, but good game in 17-4A.
Well, McCallum, obviously known around here as being one of the more dominant teams in that district. They 3-3 right now. Last week's LBJ lost. I'm sure they're going to be spending a lot of time thinking about that this week, and they need to win, or else the season might as well just be lost for them. So, big stars shine the brightest in these big games, and Kevin Lusson needs to do that. He has over 1,000 yards passing, 16 touchdowns so far, and I think he needs to have a big game. And McCallum won 28-7 last year in this game, and I think you can see a similar score like that this year.
Good points. I'm going to go with Manor, not because I don't think McCallum's good, but Manor lost their first game this year. It was a very close game, but they haven't lost since. And for whatever reason, they haven't gotten a lot of publicity with us, with any of the TV stations. Manor's a lot people than most people think, and I'm going to go with a little bit of a minor upset in this one. Last but not least, this is a big grudge match in the city of New Braunfels. New Braunfels High, New Braunfels Canyon. New Braunfels High, of course, they're 6-0 and they're ranked in the top 10. Canyon, they're not as good, but you never know what might happen in a game like this.
Well, these rivalry games are famous for being trap games, but I just don't see it happening right now. Canyon has struggled to a 3-3 record, while New Braunfels, as you mentioned, 6-0. And while they haven't had any really decisive victories, they do have Ryan Perez, who's just an incredible player. He's well on his way to 1,000 yards passing, 1,000 yards rushing season, and I think he's just going to be too much for them to handle.
And New Braunfels beat Hayes, but 24-17, and Hayes is an awfully good team. They beat them last week, so I would be surprised if Canyon. I'm going to go with New Braunfels High, so I agree with you on that. And that'll wrap it up for week number 7 here on the Central Texas Newscast, and we'll see you guys next week. I'll see you too.